So I am just taking a look at my build. Things have changed since I started the build. I thought I was going to go with the standard footy Dex Mage, which is, you know, basically creating a melee character and adding a little bit of magic to it. But after doing a lot of just trial and error, I ended up re-rolling, and I went with a fat Dex Mage, with the idea of being a mounted fat Dex Mage. It's not your standard build, but I kind of prefer it in some ways to the other build, which was, I think, Diff's build. Generally speaking, it was a 28 strength build, and instead of going fat mage, you went stout. The clade gifts are pretty much identical. It's the same clade gifts, but yeah, it would be a stout mage, age 31, 28 strength. That's generally the footy Dex Mage. I went fat instead. It's still 31 years old. It's actually not the same height. It's 1 centimeter higher, taller than the standard build. And then, of course, 10 strength. And by just going 10 strength, I'm able to really pump up my psyche here. And by going fat, I get a little bit more intelligence, but I lose on dexterity and some other things. But yeah, basically that's what I was going for. I wanted to try a hybrid approach to it. And so this is it. I'm still pretty fast at 101 dexterity. When I have my sword, when I have my dagger and shield out, I still have a really fast running speed. Actually, let's see. I could show you. I click. There are. Open up my stats. Get out my sword shield. And if I start to run, you see I have a max speed of 436, which is pretty good. I mean, I'm not the fastest. I'm definitely not the fastest on foot. There are other builds. I think the Vila, or there's certain fighters that are faster than me, but at 436, that's pretty respectable foot speed for a mage. It's good. It's not great, it's good. But then, I'm getting 75 psyche and 110 intelligence, so I'm getting a little bit more power in my spells. So for vitalism, 100 mana regeneration. For mental training, everything is 100. For blocking, gotta have 100 blocking on a Dex Mage. Even if you're mounted, it's just required for Dex Mage. Right now I have a defensive stance of 72. I do plan on getting that to 100. You'll notice I don't have any aggressive stance. Resting's secondary, so it doesn't matter, and I didn't take any primaries here. I definitely have my sprinting. My armor training is a little high so that I can wear this full grain Calardian padded armor, which is basically medium armor. Eventually I can wear ranger armor. And so that's where the armor training comes in. You may increase the armor training just so you can wear ranger armor. Ranger is like the best armor for this Dex Mage build you can wear. Gathering doesn't really matter. So survival, it's at the bottom. I can't swim. Might increase that. Controlled riding is pretty much required. Mounted magery is going to be 100. Combat maneuvering is pretty much required if you want to have that fast speed with the dagger and shield out. Combat movement is 100. Armor training is at 800. Momentum is at 100. Blocking endurance will eventually be at 100 once I find a book. My endurance is basically nothing. There's some folks that like having a little bit of endurance, and I get it, but maybe passive regeneration with some endurance might make sense, but I can't really go for active regeneration on a mage. For this, I have taming at 27, which is minimum required, and creature control at 16, which is minimum required to tame a horse, like a step horse. Anatomy currently is at 11, but I might increase this to 100. No range combat, just daggers here. That'll be 100 eventually. And magic schools. I'm going to move my ecumenical spells as high as I can get them. It'll probably end up being around 90. I think some people have been saying that it doesn't make much sense to have more than 79 for ecumenical spells. And then others have told me that if you have higher ecumenical spells, it'll deal more damage. So anyway, it'll be somewhere between 79 and 100 here. And then I'm probably going to drop Spiritism because it's not really going to be my build to resurrect people. I'm going to try to do as much damage as possible. So that's generally the build. Just wanted to share it. And you can see my armor weight is right there at 5.30 because my strength is so low at 10. I have to have my armor training a little higher so that I can wear my Calardian armor. And just so you can see, my mana regeneration's at 74 or 75%. You can wear the like max mana regeneration armor, but you just die so quickly when you get hit by a two-handed warrior. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I wear at least medium, and I take that mana regeneration hit. I do have a lot of mana, and it's really easy to regenerate mana. So anyway, the whole build is the whole premise behind this build is that I'm going to try to stay on my mount when I fight most of the time. You know, I can get off, and I can do damage with my dagger, but it's definitely not going to be my main thing. My main thing is going to be blasting from here. And for the spells, we have lesser heal right now, but I'm eventually going to get greater heal. Corrupt is your damage over time spell. Lightning is a little bit too expensive for the damage it deals, so I don't really recommend it. Purify is crucial for getting rid of Foam and Corrupt that's on you, and also other players. Spurt is good for interrupting other casters. Thunderlash is your main damage spell. I think that this is the one you're going to be casting almost all the time. And you can do Outburst too, but this is your, like 99% of the time you're casting this spell. Healing, corrupting, purifying. That's pretty much what you're going to be doing most of the time. You know, I still need to get greater heal, like I said. Foam, which is the equivalent of an explosion in Ultima Online. And there's Flame Strike as well that I think I can cast, but you have to get really close to cast it, and it takes up a lot of mana. But I'll probably get it. The only spells I think I can't cast unless I have 100 are Earthquake. But yeah, so for the most part, this is how this mage is going to be played. I'm going to cast Corrupt on the player's horse, and then I'm going to, so yeah, cast Corrupt. You can see my cast is a little slow. And then after I cast that, throw my my lash at them. And so it does take me a while to cast spells on a horse, but because I'm going to have 100 mounted magery, I won't have any reduction in my damage. So if someone's running away from me, you know, I can still chase them and cast spells and kill their horse. So that's pretty much my main deal, is kill the horse. And if I'm taking damage, you know, I can just heal myself, or I can heal my horse as I move, which is awesome. With this build, you can also take Anatomy if you want. I don't think it's necessary, but if you want to take Anatomy on top, you can, but you'd have to drop something here, probably defensive. I'd have to do the math, but you may have to drop a defensive stance ability to pick up anatomy. Your horse armor should be heavy because, you know, the whole build is centered around being on the horse. So if you're not on the horse, you're a weaker dex mage. You're not as good as a footy dex mage. So, but yeah, I just wanted to share that. This is the build I'm going to try and see if it works out. I'm mainly just going to be trying to do maximum amount of spell damage. I'm a faster than a traditional fat mage. Like a traditional fat mage is just going to like drop the dexterity pretty low, drop the strength to low, maybe even tweak the con, I don't know, and just go max int, max psyche, and just be incredibly overweight and incredibly short. But the problem with that is, you know, if you get knocked off your horse with the pure fat mage, not the dex mage, when you play a pure fat mage, when you get knocked off your horse and you have low dexterity, there's no chance for you to run away from anybody. At least with this build, you have a chance to run away from somebody and survive.